The Star Wars universe has one of the richest and deepest banks of supporting characters in any entertainment franchise. Every character you've ever seen on screen, even for a split second, has a name and a backstory. Some of this can be credited to George Lucas's immense imagination and attention to detail, but most of it is the result of a, now mostly non-canon, expanded universe, cultivated by countless other creators. Regardless of whether it's ultimately good or bad, the fact that so much backstory exists for background characters in the Star Wars universe is a testament to its power as a franchise. I'm Scott from OurCulture.com, and this is 10 background Star Wars characters with ridiculously convoluted backstories. But before we get started, let's talk about our sponsor for this list. Now, it's a game called Alliance Heroes of the Spire. It's a turn-based RPG, and you can find it on mobile. The game has 10,000 loadout combinations and 400 unique heroes. You'll take your party into real-time PvP. You'll go up against huge bosses, and there are even guild and nation battles. Now, I kind of think that turn-based RPG battling is, like a lost art, so I'm pretty chuffed to actually see that someone is flying the flag for the way that we used to do things back in the late 90s. You can use the link below in the description to get 50,000 gold and 50 gems to start your party off in the best way possible, but either way, give this game a chance. It seems to be something pretty special. Number 10, R5-D4. This white astromech droid has red accents where the much more prominent R2-D2 has blue. R5-D4 is just another background droid, or is he? The comic book Star Wars Tales #1 contains a story called Skippy the Droid. Skippy is R5-D4's nickname, and in the story it's revealed that R5 is actually a Force-sensitive droid. No, seriously. Skippy has seen a vision of the future in which he was chosen over R2-D2 by Luke and Uncle Owen, and the rebellion was ultimately crushed. So you see, he purposefully blew his motivator at precisely the right point, using the Force, of course, to ensure the proper chain of events could occur, leading to the fall of the Empire. Number 9, Lobot. A dedicated assistant to Lando Calrissian, Lobot's headgear seems to be connected to the technological heartbeat of Bespin. This headpiece is actually permanently attached to his skull, and was done so as a punishment when he was a young boy. He was hooked up to a central Cloud City computer and sentenced to perform menial tasks as part of his community service. He ends up serving multiple city administrations, including Lando's. In the PlayStation game Star Wars Demolition, he infiltrates Jabba's palace on a revenge mission, ultimately being forced to participate as a contestant in Jabba's Demolition Derby tournament. Number 8, the SARLACC Pit. Now granted, the SARLACC Pit is not actually a character, but the creature called the Sarlacc, who inhabits the Pit of Carkoon, is. Now, a debate rages among scientists with regard to the taxonomic classification of the Sarlacc. Some argue that the Sarlacc are arthropods, much like a crab or a scorpion. Others classify them as a plant, albeit a pretty angry plant due to their anchored roots and the fact that they produce via spores. The spores travel through the air and eventually make their homes in otherwise inhospitable and harsh locations. Its entire body is actually buried underground, with what we're seeing only being the mouth. Number 7, the Tonica Sisters. A couple of human females in the cantina scene of episode 4, the Tonica Sisters certainly looked a bit out of place amongst all the other scum and villainy. They have no lines after all and are only very briefly seen. An expansion rulebook for the 1989 Star Wars role-playing game established the sisters' names as Bria and Seni. They were actually Kifu con artists who had successfully scammed everyone from imperial dignitaries to crime lords. Incongruent with their appearance in the film, they are said to be identical twins, often posing as one person to facilitate their scams. However, the Tonica Sisters are clearly not twins in the film. To fix this inconsistency, the sisters appear in a later Star Wars novel, and it is revealed that the women we saw in the cantina were actually imposters themselves, named Sharda Dukal and Carolee Doolin, posing as the Tonica Sisters. Number 6, MOMAW NADON, Hammerhead. Back to the cantina in episode 4 we go, as everyone remembers this large and unique looking alien. His action figure was released in 1978 by Kenner, and it's the first time we saw him referred to as Hammerhead. Now, Hammerhead is a member of the docile, environmentally conscious Ithorian race, and is actually named MOMAW NADON. His people live in floating cities, kind of like Bespin, to avoid damaging the plant-rich surface of their home planet. MOMAW NADON has revealed his race's advanced botanical knowledge to the Empire in an attempt to save his planet from attack. To thank him from this, the Ithorians banished him forever, which is how he ended up on Tatooine. Number 5, IG-88. IG-88 is one of the bounty hunters in the infamous lineup scene from The Empire Strikes Back, an ominous-looking droid draped in weaponry. IG-88 is an assassin droid. As good a bounty hunter as he was, turns out it was all a cover for the original IG-88, called IG-88A, and his master plan. Upon his activation, IG-88 killed his creators and transferred his consciousness to 3 other IG series droids. The 4 plotted a droid revolution, which was exactly how it sounds: kill everything that isn't a droid. It was actually IG-88B who appeared in the Vader scene with the other bounty hunters. From here, the highly competitive Boba Fett ends up killing IG-88B on Bespin, relegating his remains to scrap metal. Fett also takes out IG-88C and D, leaving IG-88A as the sole survivor. He effectively unloads his consciousness into the Death Star and plans to beam out the activation command for all droids to turn on their masters, but the rebels destroy the Death Star before he can carry out this task. Number 4. Koyi Matil. In Episode 3, Palpatine has Anakin Skywalker meet him at a theater, where we see a luminous show of organic light of some kind. What we also see are people filing out of the building on a red carpet at the end of the show, one of which is the scantily clad Twi'lek female Koyi Matil, who I have to hope I'm pronouncing right. Hailing from the planet Ryloth, Koyi was a socialite who married Duke Teta for his money, secretly hoping he will soon die so she can inherit his fortune. She even artificially colored her skin to appear more human. Now, Matil's story isn't necessarily convoluted, but it's a testament to how deep a world is created for characters who appear on film for just a split second in the background. Koyi is just one of the many showgoers exiting the building, and yet we now know all about her sham of a marriage and her grooming tendencies. Number 3. SAELT-MARAE. Yakface. Much like our pal Hammerhead, Yakface was this character's production nickname, and the name that appeared on his 1985 action figure. He was present as part of Jabba's crew, and you can see him on the sail barge in the Sarlacc pit scene. SAELT-MARAE, who, again, I'm just gonna have to hope that I'm pronouncing this right, is a high-level information broker, and was acting as an informant to Jabba the Hutt during the time of Return of the Jedi. He posed as a common merchant, mingling amongst Jabba's minions to learn of any potential secret plots against him. Here's the convoluted part. SAELT-MARAE's journals contained much information about his personal and business contacts, information he could use for bribery or blackmail. It also contained a detailed account of his 200-year courtship. That's right, SAELT-MARAE dated what I have to assume is a female Yakface for around 200 years before they made it. I mean, hasn't Tatooine heard of Tinder? Number 2. Danik Jericho. Yet another character from the Cantina scene, because yes, pretty much every single character in this building has their own backstory. Jericho is the guy with the yucky nose who is shown very briefly smoking a pipe attached to a hose, as you do. Danik Jericho is an Anzanti bounty hunter who drank his victims' brains and called it the soup of life. Jericho was feared in the bounty hunter community after he killed and drank the brains of one of his employers who didn't respect the value of the work he provided. Here's where it gets even crazier though. On that day in the Mos Eisley Cantina, he detected a strong and intoxicating soup of life, mainly because Anzatis can telepathically probe their potential victims' brains before they bother scooping them out, obviously. Turns out it was Han Solo's brain soup that he was aroused by, and Danik went on to make over a dozen other expanded universe appearances, with his greatest goal forever being to suck out Han Solo's tantalizing brains. Lovely. Number 1. Zuckuss. Zuckuss, like IG-88, is one of the bounty hunters called in by Darth Vader to track down the rebels in Empire Strikes Back. The only screen time he gets is in this lineup, and he doesn't even speak. Other bounty hunters called Zuckuss the Uncanny One. He's Force-sensitive. He had an epic bromance with fellow bounty hunter Thor Lom. He suffered from multiple personality disorder. He spoke in 2 different languages. He inspired an entire generation of bounty hunters from his homeworld of Gand. Oh, and between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, he was working for the Rebellion, actively trying to derail Boba Fett and rescue Han Solo. All of that based on one scene and no lines.
Oh, wasn't that something? Don't forget to like, share and subscribe below, and also the people who made this lovely video, they're appearing right here. But if you're thinking to yourself, I want to see more content, Jules, then why not look above my head, as there probably is some. I don't know. I can't see it. Until next time.